Okay, so my neighbors are fighting, but I wanted to hop on here really quick and answer a question that one of my clients had about reading their birth chart. So an easy, really quick, easy way to read your birth chart is to first generate it, and you can use like Astrolab or astro.com, and then you want to look at the current transits, okay? So I like to use Cafe Astrology or Astrolab, right? They list, Cafe Astrology is actually the better website. So when you pull up your birth chart and you look at where your planets are placed, you want to try to make a connection to where the aspects are taking place in the astrology, where the planets are, if there's any major aspects, if there's any planets moving, because so let's say, for example, Mars, right now, Mars is moving through Cancer. So Mars in Cancer is going to trigger any planets in Cancer that are in your chart. Your sun, your moon, your rising sign, okay? And if you have a Mars in Cancer as your birth sign, then that's going to be triggered too. So that's kind of how it works. So you know, if you have, like we have an eclipse coming up, I believe it's in Leo or Cancer. I can't remember, one of those signs. I gotta look at my chart. But, you know, if you were to look at that eclipse and see what sign it's falling under, and then look at your chart, right, or just know your sun sign, you can see whether or not that aspect, that planetary alignment is going to flow with you or be a challenge, an opposition for you, right? So typically speaking, generally speaking, air signs and fire signs are sextiling each other, okay? All fire signs are in harmonious aspect, obviously, and then earth signs and water signs are gonna sextile each other. However, earth signs and water signs, or excuse me, earth signs and fire signs might have a little bit of a challenge. Water signs and fire signs obviously might have a little bit of a challenge. Air signs and water signs might have a little bit of a challenge, just because if you think about how things naturally flow in nature, you know, if you think about it from the aspect of the elements, they are not necessarily harmonious, right? They are coexisting. But we know that air feeds fire, fire feeds fire, of course, and then water or earth supports the water, and water feeds water, earth feeds earth, air feeds air, right? So that's how compatibility works. That's how the aspects work in a very, very general sense, okay? Astrology is both an art and a science. It's both. And I think it all depends on the individual, how they choose to interpret charts, how they choose to, you know, read the chart, what aspects they choose to focus on. So yeah, I hope this was helpful to you. So I would encourage you to pull up your chart. It's free on a lot of these websites. And then see what's going on currently in the astrology and see if you can kind of figure out what's going on, right? I don't like to think of astrology as a prediction type of tool, because we create our own realities. It doesn't matter what the astrology is doing. That has no bearing whatsoever. That has an influence, because it's like weather, right? If it's raining outside, you carry an umbrella. If it's sunny outside, you wear shorts. Like right now, I think it's like 90 degrees. I live in Oakland, and I think that's why everybody's pissed off too, because it's so hot and we don't have air conditioners like custom, you know, or I don't want to say custom, but what's the word? Standard in the apartments like I did in Atlanta, okay? So it's really, really hot. And I think that's pissing people off naturally. But yeah, I hope this was helpful for you. I just felt like hopping on real quick because one of my clients asked me about it. And that's how I work with my clients. I try to teach them how to own it, right? Because astrology, it's complicated. And yes, I will read your chart. You don't have to figure it out. But I like to provide my clients with simple ways to you know, just get some general information without having to like look outside of themselves, because now you got the information in front of you. What does it really mean to you? Like, what does it bring up to you? Because when I'm looking at charts, you know, with a client, of course, it's very specific. But when you're looking at YouTube videos on, you know, your sun sign astrology, your moon sign, your rising sign astrology, these are generalizations, okay? There are billions of people on this planet, and we can assume that millions of them fall into each astrological sign, right? So use that as kind of a guidepost. But if you want more personalized information, of course, you know, hire a coach or work with an astrologer, but definitely try to figure things out for yourself, because the information is readily available. Okay? Have a wonderful day. Namaste.